Hi everybody, welcome back to one of our Periscopes with the World Meeting of Families. I'm here with Lisa Duffy, who's the author of The Catholic Guide to Dating After Divorce. So Lisa, thanks for being with us here.
Absolutely.
She's going to be signing books here in our booth, at booth 742, in about 10 minutes or so. So we wanted to have a quick conversation about your book and also your experience here so far and your experience coming up for the week. So are you excited about being here?
Oh my gosh, it's great. Yeah. I'm from Charleston, South Carolina. There's not an abundance of Catholics there. It's the Bible Belt, but it's just wonderful to be entrenched, in the Catholic world. I absolutely love it.
Good. So tell us about your book, The Catholic Guide to Dating After Divorce.
The Catholic Guide to Dating After Divorce is something that I wanted to offer because, people complain about the divorce rate, but that's really looking at first marriages, first divorces. The rate of second and third marriages, that rate of divorce is astronomically high. And I just wanted to put something out because I've been through a divorce and the annulment process myself, and then being remarried for about 15 years. I wanted to offer some support because once you get divorced, you don't want to just run out and get into another relationship. You've got some work to do to prepare. And it's not something that's bad. It's a really good thing to take the time to prepare. And so that's what that book is about, preparing for a new relationship.
So if you were talking to a person who is, recently divorced, not interested in dating, what were some of the tips that you're giving to them in that time?
Well, a big thing is, if you jump into a relationship, you want to make sure you're available to give your heart away. And some people would automatically say, well, yeah, so you need an annulment. And that is true, because all marriages are assumed to be valid by the church. So you want to make sure you're available in that way, but you also want to make sure that your heart is not filled with resentment and anger and all of those things that really prevent your heart from being ready to love. So if you've got all that, then are you really available? So that was a big thing. I also go into communication habits. Oftentimes we pick up some really bad habits when a relationship is on its way out. And so just all these things that we can correct and make ourselves into a truly attractive person, inside and outside.
Good. You mentioned annulments, and many people are aware of all the recent news about the annulments with Pope Francis and the exhortations, or I'm not sure what the official church terms, but the documents that came out about annulments. For those who don't know, what did the Pope do? What is it that came out that was kind of exciting?
Well, the first thing is he made policy changes, not changes to church teaching. But he said that there are certain cases that can be fast-tracked. That's the term that they're using. And what that means is there are cases that are just so cut and dried and so obvious that there was not a valid marriage. And if they can take that out of the pipeline of long-term cases and do the due diligence, of course, but streamline it down to about 45 days, that is a huge help. I do have to say, a lot of this, we will see how it works in the implementation. But the idea is to take some of that caseload away for the very obvious cases. Another thing that's really wonderful is trying to make the annulment process as free as possible. It can be free if the diocese can make it that way, or they can charge minimal. But I know in going through it myself, they were asking $600 at the time, and I was working 2 jobs and starving to death, so that was hard. So this is a welcome change. How long does the process typically take? I mean, there probably isn't a typical or average, but I mean, 45 days versus how much longer would it be? A year to 2 years. Mine was about 2 years. And it's a lot of waiting, and it's hard. And I think that wait is truly a test of. Shouldn't say that. It's more a burgeoning of your faith, because you really have to put the decision in God's hands. But 2 years is a long time, so if some of these people can get it resolved in 45 days, I think that's a big plus.
What do you say to a person who's divorced and considering annulment, and now especially that it's not as expensive, so it's not as inhibitive, I guess, as it maybe it was before. But they're still not sure if they're ready to go through the annulment process. They're not sure if they're ready to say my marriage wasn't a marriage in the first place. What would you say to a person that's struggling with the decision?
I would say that's absolutely fine.
Yeah.
Take your time.
Yeah.
Because if you know in the future you're going to want to go through the annulment process, don't wait too long.
Yeah.
Because you do have to go back and revisit some very painful memories. But definitely make sure you're ready. Some people believe that they want to never remarry, and they want to raise their children, and they want to go forth as a single person, and that's perfectly fine. But it does take a lot of emotional stamina. So if you're not ready to do that yet, by all means, wait until you are ready.
Good. Thank you for this message. I'm sure that's going to be so great to hear for a lot of couples that are considering it. Last week, or maybe 2 weeks ago, when the Pope made his announcements, you got to be on NBC Nightly News, which was a fun experience. It was fun for us to watch you that evening. What was that experience like? What was the major news outlet? It's cool.
That was very exciting.
Yeah.
They had something really wonderful happen that day.
Mm-hmm.
They had a independent crew from Columbia, South Carolina, come down to my house in Charleston.
Oh, okay.
And it was a father and son, and the son said, we normally have tons of people, but everybody's busy, so I had to bring my father. So while he was setting up the cameras and the lights and everything, I was chatting with his father. And his father, I asked if I could put the statue of Mary behind us so it would be in the shot. And the father said, oh, this is a very special day for you Catholics, isn't it? And I thought, wow, how does he know that? It was our Blessed Mother's birthday.
Oh, right, yeah.
So then he went on to tell me that he prays the rosary every day, he reads the breviary every day, but he is a retired Protestant minister.
Oh, you're kidding me.
No.
Wow.
And so we had this really wonderful conversation, and he likes to do all these Catholic things.
Yeah.
And then he told me that his wife said, when you retire, we're going to stop being Episcopal or whatever they were, and we're going to become Presbyterian. And I said,
wow.
Well, why not Catholic?
Yeah.
And he said, oh no, it's too hard. He said, we're both divorced, and it would be just too hard. And I said, as a matter of fact, this is why I'm doing this interview, because of these changes that the Pope brought about.
Were they remarried? I mean, were they?
Yes, they were remarried.
Yeah.
So we talked a little bit, and I referred him to a priest so he could give him all the details. But I told him that there's great hope for them to become Catholic. And then later in the interview, I repeated the Pope's words about us being workers in the field and bringing the wounded into the hospital. That was the church. Yeah. And there was a visible change on his face. And I almost thought he was going to cry. Oh. And so I just thought that was such a beautiful thing. And I've been praying for him ever since. And I hope that, with God's grace, they're able to come into the church.
What a miracle. How cool. I've heard so many stories about people coming back, just trying the church out again because of Pope Francis, the Francis effect being a reality. So what a beautiful story. Wow. What are you excited about the rest of this week? I mean, what are your plans?
Well, aside from this, which is fabulous, I am going to go back to where my family is in New Jersey, and then we're going to make the trek home with my husband and kids and see even more sites.
Good.
We've done Thomas Jefferson, we've done DC, we've done New York. Yeah. So it's just a lot of fun with the kids, but I can't tell you how wonderful it is to be here and to soak this all up. It's amazing.
Yeah, the energy is palpable. I mean, it's a fun experience for sure. So.
Yes, definitely.
Okay, well, Lisa, thanks. We'll let you get to your book signing here, and thanks for being with us today at the booth.
Okay. Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, sure. All right. God bless everybody.